I'm Marshall McGuire. I'm doing a harp concert here at the most beautiful St Georges Cathedral as part of the Winter Arts Festival. This will be my first harp recital in this cathedral, and it's one of those things, cathedrals and angels kind of go together, and harps and angels, so it's a perfect coming together of all the things I like. It's such a lovely acoustic in this building too, and I think, if you think about harp music, it's often quite gentle and it's a bit sort of waterfalls and angels and all that stuff, but I'm also doing a lot of work that's really quite robust. The harp is a big instrument. It weighs 50 kilos and it's got lots of strings and it can push out a lot of sound.
Cathedrals, by tradition, going way back to medieval times, are really supposed to be, or were created as, a cultural hub within a city. That's what they were originally, and part of our aim is to really bring that back to Perth.
My idea was that, being bang in the centre of the Perth, that the cathedral should offer very high quality music of more sacred element than perhaps what Wasso would offer at the concert hall. Religious pieces like Handel's Messiah that would bring people in and really get what we're doing here in terms of the standard of music.
We're constantly developing our art scene here and encouraging the whole community to come into the cathedral and to feel that it is part of their cultural environment. So you don't have to be religious or an Anglican or anything like that. The cathedral is here for everybody, and arts and music in particular are very much part of what we're all about.
I was 12 when I started the harp, and I took it up. I'd been singing in a choir in the cathedral in Melbourne, so I had music. Music was all that I was really good at and all that I really loved. And I think I wanted to take up an instrument that no one else at school was playing. And at my school, no one played the harp. And I said to my parents, "How about a harp?" And they said yes, and they got me a harp. And here I am playing the harp.
I just heard someone playing an organ when I was 15 years old at the Royal Northern College of Music in Manchester, where my sister was studying, and that was it. Bang, the organ I fell in love with straight away. It was all that noise, all that power.
The hardest thing about the harp is just getting to terms with its size. It's such a big instrument, and it's got 47 strings, it's got 7 pedals, it's got 2,000 moving parts inside it. It's a little bit like playing a pipe organ, I guess, in many ways. You've got to use your whole body, and that takes a long time to learn. You've got to train yourself physically how to actually just play the instrument. So that does take a long time. It took me a long time, and all my students now, anybody starting, it can take a little while, and it's a bit frustrating at first because you want to be able to play everything straight away. So you've just got to have patience, and you do it, and it's been great. I mean, the great thing about the harp is that it can play in the orchestra, it can play on its own, you can play in chamber ensembles, you can play pop music with it. If you think of people like Jonah Newsom now, who's doing a lot of great harp stuff, you can play folk music. It covers all the musical styles, and that's what's been the great thing about the harp, is that you can just about do anything on it.
The great thing about my career is that it's taken me to places and given me access to places. I could be sitting in Saint-Sulpice by myself, in the Da Vinci Code, have access to all these amazing places that you just wouldn't get to see if I didn't have a particular talent.
Anybody who's interested should try everything. That's my philosophy. If you're interested in it, just try it. And it's often difficult with kids because with certain sports or certain musical instruments, or ballet's another case in point. The greatest ballet dancers of history have all been men. You think of Nureyev and Baryshnikov and Nijinsky. These are the people we still talk about as the great dancers, the ones that changed the art form. And harp is the same. Tuba's the same. There probably aren't many girls playing the tuba, but if you're a girl and you want to play the tuba, play the tuba. If you're a boy that wants to play the harp, play the harp. It's the way to go. Just do what you really need to do.
My advice would be, in your heart, whether you're good enough or not. And if you know in your heart that you are good enough to pursue a career in music to a solistic level, then go with it and don't be told by certain people that you can't. But only you yourself know within your heart whether you can. That would be my advice. Go with your own instincts.